Try not to be too jealous, she said. And then laughed. She laughed. She actually laughed. She stood at the mirror fixing her eyeliner, wearing heels I didn't recognize, and said the words like she was reading them off a movie script. I'm off on a date, babe. Try not to be too jealous. The sound of her perfume bottle clicking shut felt louder than my heartbeat. I was sitting on the edge of the bed with a sock half on, blinking like an idiot. Like maybe if I didn't move, the moment wouldn't be real. Like maybe she was joking. I wanted her to be joking. She wasn't. She turned, checked herself in the full-length mirror again, and gave a little spin. Like she was modeling my humiliation. How do I look? She asked. I didn't answer. I was still stuck on the word date. We hadn't talked about seeing other people. We hadn't fought. I mean, yeah, we'd drifted a little, but nothing worth this. Nothing worth stomping on the heart of someone who did your laundry and held your hair when you were sick. She slipped on her coat like this was just another Wednesday. No drama. No explanation. I asked finally, who is he? She rolled her eyes. Don't do that. Don't be needy. That one stung more than I expected. The door clicked. Her heels echoed down the stairs. I just sat there, frozen. And here's the thing, I didn't chase. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't even text her. I just stood up, slowly, like a man waking up inside his own nightmare. And I started moving. Not randomly. Not emotionally. Methodically. I went to the closet, grabbed a shoebox I hadn't touched in years. Inside was every receipt, every weird message, every little off-feeling moment I'd buried because I didn't want to believe what my gut already knew. I wasn't going to fight for her. I was going to make her watch me disappear. And she wouldn't even see it coming. She expected me to fall apart. I smiled instead. She thought I'd break. That was the part that kept echoing in my head after the door slammed. She expected tears, rage, maybe even begging. But I didn't give her any of that. I gave her a smile she didn't even get to see. The second I heard her car pull away, I stood in the living room for a full minute, staring at the painting we bought together in Asheville. The one she said reminded her of us. I always hated that painting. It was abstract and cold, just like this marriage had become. I took it off the wall. I didn't break it. I just laid it gently in the trash. Then I opened my laptop. I already knew her passwords. She'd never bothered to change them, not once in 6 years. I wasn't planning to snoop. Not really. But something about her smug face as she walked out that door made me need to know exactly how deep the rot went. Her email was a mess. Dozens of unread messages. But it didn't take long to find the one that confirmed everything. A reservation at a rooftop bar under the name Lexi. She was using an alias. I guess she thought she was clever. What stunned me wasn't that she was cheating, it was how often. Different names. Different guys. Different nights. She told me she was just going to the gym. She wasn't even trying to hide it well. I sat back, heart thudding, but I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I copied every message, every calendar entry, every photo from the hidden album on her iCloud. Yes, there was a hidden album. With videos. I'm not going to describe what I saw. Let's just say the image of her in our bed with someone else is something I'll never unsee. The worst part? She laughed in one of them. The same way she laughed when she left for her date. That night, I didn't sleep. Instead, I made a list. Not of what I was going to say, but what I was going to take. She wanted to play games. But I was about to change the rules. And she wouldn't see my next move coming until it was already done. I didn't need revenge. I needed her to watch herself lose. Around 3:40 a.m., I realized I wasn't just hurt anymore. I was clear. I wasn't planning to burn her clothes or scream at her in the driveway like some betrayed sitcom husband. No, that wasn't my style. She expected chaos. But what she was going to get was precision. I went to the garage and pulled out the blue storage bin she thought I'd thrown away after the move. Inside were my old contracts, tax records, and, more importantly, hers. I'd kept them, just in case. She never knew I scanned everything. Bank info, credit card statements, even her lease from before we married. She used to roll her eyes at me for being paranoid. Guess who's laughing now? By sunrise, I had a full map of every financial move we'd made in 6 years. Turns out, her little dates were being funded by our joint account. Uber rides, drinks, lingerie, even a Venmo labeled, "Thanks for the weekend, Blackheart." I screenshotted everything. Uploaded it to a secure drive. I didn't plan to confront her with it. No, I planned to use it. I spent the next day moving quietly. First, I pulled half the money from our joint checking. Legally, it was mine too. I opened a private account at a local credit union she didn't even know existed. Then I changed my direct deposit at work. After that, I filed a change of address form with the post office to a small P.O. box near my job. All done before she even texted me a lazy "don't wait up." That night, when she walked in, cheeks flushed and lipstick smudged, I was sitting at the kitchen table, calmly typing on my laptop. She barely acknowledged me, said something like, "Didn't think you'd still be awake." I smiled and said, "You left the oven on." She blinked, confused, then muttered, "Whatever," and went upstairs. What she didn't realize was that while she was in the shower, humming like nothing mattered, I was printing out her own lies in full color, laying the groundwork. Quiet, focused. She thought I was being pathetic. She didn't know she was walking through the opening moves of a checkmate, and I was going to let her take all the wrong steps, right into her own ruin. She thought nothing had changed, but everything had. For the next 5 days, I played the role of the clueless husband with an almost obsessive commitment to detail. I cooked breakfast like usual, took the trash out, laughed at her fake stories about work, stories I now knew were just recycled lies. She acted like I was too spineless to confront her, like she could keep dragging me through the dirt while I thanked her for the privilege. But behind the scenes, I was setting fire to her safety net. Quietly, relentlessly. I started with the car. Technically, it was mine. I bought it before the marriage, paid off the loan early, and she never asked whose name was on the title. I went to the DMV and transferred it back into my name only. Then I called our insurance and removed her from the policy. That same afternoon, I signed her up for 2 separate dating mailing lists under her work email. Trashy ones. The kind her company's IT team would definitely notice. She walked around with her head high, laughing on her phone at night, thinking I was asleep. She'd start texting at midnight, giggling under the covers like a teenager. I pretended not to hear. I even brought her a glass of water once while she was mid-conversation. She looked startled, then smug. She thought I was defeated. The thing is, I wanted her comfortable. Because that weekend, I knew she was planning something big. She'd cleared her calendar, told me her friend Marcy was having a girls' getaway. Right. I'd already seen the booking confirmation, sent to her email from a luxury resort 3 hours away. 1 room, 2 guests, a man's name. It wasn't even subtle anymore. I let her go. I even packed her favorite headphones in her bag and slipped in a handwritten note. "Have fun. You deserve it." She'd probably laughed when she read it. But while she was sipping champagne with her little boy toy, I spent Saturday changing the locks, canceling her credit card, switching the alarm codes. I wasn't locking her out of the house. I was locking her out of the world she thought she controlled. By Sunday night, she still hadn't texted. I figured she was still high on lies and hotel sheets. Good. Let her enjoy it. Because the next message she'd get from me wouldn't be a question. It would be a decision. And it would leave her absolutely stunned. She came home smiling. That didn't last long. She came back late Sunday night, suitcase rolling behind her, sunglasses still on even though it was dark out. That alone told me everything. She was walking in like a woman who'd just won a prize. Like I was too broken to notice she was gone. I was in the living room. Lights dim. Laptop closed. Calm. "Hey," she said, all casual, kicking off her shoes. "Miss me?" I stood up and asked flatly, "How was Marcy?" She smirked. "Tiring. You know how she is." I nodded. "And Todd, is he tiring too?" For the first time in weeks, she froze. Just a flicker, in her shoulders, in the way she didn't look at me right away. "Who?" Her voice cracked a little. Just a hairline fracture in the performance. I walked over and dropped a printed photo on the coffee table. It was her and Todd, poolside. She was on his lap. Her wedding ring was off. The timestamp was from the previous morning. I didn't yell. I didn't curse. I didn't ask why. I just said, "You'll want to check your accounts before you scream." She stared at the photo, then back at me, confused. I could almost hear the gears turning behind her eyes. Her phone buzzed. She picked it up. I already knew what message she was reading. The one from the bank, alerting her that her card had been declined. She tried the other one. Same result. She blinked fast, suddenly pale. "What did you do?" I shrugged. "Just took back what was mine. Nothing more." "Boyd, what the hell is going on?" I stepped back and pointed to the table. Another folder was sitting there, one she hadn't noticed yet. Inside were copies of her messages, her hidden photo album, the resort reservation, everything. I didn't say a word. I just watched her open it. And then silence. Real silence. The kind that only happens when a person finally understands they aren't in control anymore. She whispered, "You were spying on me?" "No. I was watching you stop being my wife. I just finally decided to act like I believed it." She sat down, stunned. Still not crying. Still trying to figure out if this was salvageable. And then I gave her the last surprise. The letter. Folded neatly. Unopened. "I'm moving out tomorrow," I said. "And I already spoke to a lawyer." That was when her face finally cracked. Her bottom lip trembled. Her hands clenched the armrest like she was bracing for a car crash. But there was no crash. Just a soft thud as I walked upstairs and closed the door behind me. She thought I'd never have the guts. She forgot who taught me how to lie with a smile. She begged. Not for love, but for damage control. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was heartbroken anymore. I think that part of me died somewhere between her poolside lap giggle and the Venmo message that said, "Next time, my treat face-blowing a kiss." I stayed awake because I wanted to hear it. The creak of the stairs when she finally came up. The soft knock on the bedroom door she no longer had a right to enter. It came at 2:12 a.m. Boyd. Her voice was so soft, so fake sweet it made my teeth hurt. "Can we talk?" I stayed silent. She knocked again, this time a little louder. "Please. Just open the door. I didn't mean for things to get like this." Still nothing from me. The knob turned. She found it locked. I heard her sigh, then lean her forehead against the wood like she was in a movie scene. Maybe she thought that would stir something in me. Some leftover affection. It didn't. "I was stupid," she whispered. "Okay, I messed up. But we can fix this. We don't have to blow everything up." There it was. Not regret. Not love. Damage control. I waited until I heard her footsteps fade away before I opened the door. She was sitting at the top of the stairs, arms wrapped around her knees like a child. She looked up at me, eyes rimmed red, mascara smudged. "I don't want to lose everything." "You already did," I said flatly. "I didn't think you'd do this," she said. "You're not like this. You don't fight." And she was right. I didn't fight. I left. And that was what scared her most. "You think this Todd guy's going to stick around when the bills stop getting paid?" I asked. "When your credit's shot, your car's gone, and your job finds out what you've been doing on company email?" She flinched. "You wouldn't. You think I'd let you humiliate me and walk away untouched?" "Boyd, please, just talk to me. You don't have to ruin me." I crouched down, level with her. "I don't want revenge. I want peace. And peace is never cheap for the person who created the war." She reached out, tried to touch my hand. I pulled back. "Do what you need to do," I told her. "Lawyer's name is on the letter. They'll be in touch." And with that, I walked back into the room and closed the door, not even bothering to lock it this time. Because you don't lock a door when there's nothing left inside worth stealing. She wanted to control the narrative. I handed her the script and lit it on fire. Monday morning came with the kind of silence that usually follows a tornado. She tried to act normal. Made coffee, opened the blinds, even hummed some songs she used to play on road trips, like rewinding the tape could erase the destruction. I didn't speak to her. I packed my bag, grabbed my laptop, and headed out the door without a word. She followed me to the porch. "Are you really going to humiliate me like this?" she hissed. "What happened to being the bigger person?" I turned back and looked her dead in the eye. "I am being the bigger person. I didn't tell your parents. Yet." Her face went ghost white. I didn't say anything else. I just walked to the car and drove off. But I didn't go to work. I had already taken the week off, filed under family emergency. Instead, I went to my friend Ruben's place, someone she always hated because he saw through her act. He'd already set up the spare room. No questions asked. Just a nod and a cold beer. But the real storm started later that day. Around 3 p.m., she called. Then again. Then a text. "What did you do?" By 5 p.m., I got a message from one of her coworkers, a woman I barely knew, who messaged me on Facebook. "Hey, not sure what's going on, but HR pulled Tessa into a closed-door meeting. Looked serious." I never replied. See, before I left, I sent a carefully worded, anonymously sourced tip to her company's ethics line. Nothing slanderous. Just screenshots. Time-stamped emails. Proof she used company travel funds for non-work trips. And the videos? Those were quietly tagged for private use on a cloud folder her department regularly accessed. She wanted to play reckless? I just helped her audience grow. By that evening, she called again. No smugness now. No venom. Just a quiet, shaky voicemail that ended with, "Please come home." But I wasn't coming home. I wasn't even looking back. Because somewhere between her smirk at the mirror and that last whispered, "Try not to be too jealous," something inside me flipped. I realized I didn't want her back. I didn't even want her sorry. I just wanted her to remember. Every time she sees a hotel key, or a black dress, or hears someone laugh at a bad joke, that the man she thought would never walk away, left without slamming the door. She expected a war. I gave her silence and a better life without her. She texted me 2 days later. "Can we at least talk before lawyers get involved?" I didn't answer. Then came the long email. 3 paragraphs of blame shifting, guilt tripping, and subtle bargaining disguised as apology. I was confused. You weren't present emotionally. I didn't know how unhappy I was. The usual script. She didn't want me back. She wanted her stability back. Her safety net. Her audience. And I wasn't that man anymore. When the paperwork hit her inbox the following Monday, she called me 27 times. Left 11 voicemails. I didn't listen to a single one. I blocked her number. Left her with the lawyer's contact info. Let her scream into a legal void instead of my ears. A week later, I moved my stuff out. She wasn't home. I took my dogs, my guitars, my photos, and left behind the ring she swore she'd never take off. It was sitting in a bowl by the sink. By the end of the month, she was out of her job, living at her sister's place, scrambling to pick up the pieces of a life she once built on control, on charm, on the assumption that I'd always be there. And me? I was rebuilding. Slowly, quietly, but for real this time. I started hiking again. Reconnected with Ruben and his wife. Went on a few awkward dates, not looking for love, just company. I found a little apartment with big windows and no memories. I planted herbs on the balcony. I rescued a 3rd dog. I started sleeping again. Actually sleeping. And one morning, I woke up, made coffee, and realized something I never thought I'd feel again. Peace. No drama. No second guessing. Just silence. Not the kind she left behind, cold and punishing. The kind I chose. The kind that meant freedom. So if you're watching this wondering if you'll ever heal from betrayal, wondering if walking away is worth the wreckage, let me tell you it is. Because when someone laughs while they hurt you, the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's healing in a life where they're no longer the main character.